can doctors have tattoos? Gloria here. I'm a junior doctor living in Ghana, and on this channel I create content on medicine, lifestyle and faith. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much for coming. So today's video is going to be an interesting one. From the title you can already guess I'm going to be answering the most googled questions about doctors. Okay, you guys are actually quite curious about a lot of things. I'm going to group the questions into 4 main categories. So we're going to have the can doctors kind of questions, we're going to have should doctors, and then we're going to have the do doctors, and then we're going to have why do doctors. So those are the 4 main categories of questions we're going to be answering today. So the first one is, why do doctors have bad handwriting? Hey, please, doctors don't have bad handwriting. No, me, I don't have a bad handwriting. I'm going to prove it to you. I have a book here and I'm going to write something to prove it to you that doctors don't have bad handwritings. Can you see? Does this look like a bad handwriting to you? Please, it's a lie. Okay, doctors don't have bad handwriting. What are you talking about? Okay, we do. Okay, we are sorry, but there's a lot of work to do. There's lots of patients to see. Why do doctors wear white coats? So white coats are what we call personal protective equipment. They are parts of the personal protective equipment, or PPEs. And it's basically to protect you as a doctor, because there are so many fluids that are just in medicine. You can be examining a child and before you know it, a baby, and before you know it, they are peeing, or there's some blood. Like, there are just too many different fluids that you may encounter as a doctor. It's better to put on a white coat so that it serves as a barrier to prevent you from taking a lot of infections onto your clothes and into your house, basically. Third one is, why do doctors say start? So I think that this question is probably from people who watch a lot of medical series, because in medical series they're always like, give adrenaline, 0.0 this, start, boom, give this, start, boom, start. But yeah, we we say start a lot and we write start a lot. Start just basically means that for that medication and for that dose of the medication, you're giving it once, you're giving it at once, basically. So it's like immediate at once. You're not going to give that dose again. Why do doctors ignore patients? I think this was probably from someone who went to see a doctor and then they were ignored the entire time. So I'm going to apologize on behalf of doctors. Anyone who has been ignored by their doctor, I am very sorry. I apologize on our behalf. Are we forgiven? Next question is, why do doctors finger you? I think that wording is quite inappropriate. I'm going to say, why do doctors insert their fingers in you? I feel like that's much better. The first one is just a bit unsavory. I suppose that this question is talking about, why do doctors insert their fingers into your vagina or into the vagina of a female patient? And that's because there's a lot of information to be gained from just doing that vaginal examination and that assessment. It helps us to make certain diagnoses. Sometimes there's this condition called pelvic inflammatory disease, and can end up eliciting a sign called cervical motion tenderness, which will give you an indication of what disease the person is going through. So yeah, basically there's just a lot of information and certain diagnoses that need to be made, unfortunately, by placing or putting the fingers inside the vagina. And so also sometimes even in labor, and if you want to check the cervical dilatation to see how far the labor has gone and all of that, we need to put our fingers there. Unfortunately, there's no machine. Yeah, trust me, we are not excited to do it too. Okay, so we do it because in medicine you have to place your fingers in a lot of places, even in some people's buttholes and stuff, check the prostate. There's a lot of things that you have to do that we don't particularly like. Trust me when I say we don't like it. We just do it because it saves lives. Okay, so that's actually the end of the why do doctor questions. We're going to move on to the can doctors set of questions. So the very first one is, can doctors have tattoos? Hey, So my answer is going to be yes and no. Technically, yes, doctors can have tattoos. There's no law that says that doctors cannot have tattoos. Like, there's no rule that says you can have tattoos as a doctor. But coming from speaking from a setting of a typical Ghanaian society, trust me that if you have visible tattoos, there are some eyebrows that are going to be raised. And from senior colleagues and senior specialists and stuff like that, especially if you're a junior doctor, and there are bound to be people who you're going to meet or bosses that you're going to meet that might, sort of ask questions and sort of be judgmental and all of these things. Because in Ghana, generally tattoos have a very negative connotation. For some reason, we don't really appreciate tattoos. And so you can do it, but I feel like you will probably get a lot of hassle for it, especially if you are lower in the ranks. Can doctors refuse patients? Not exactly, unless of course it's on certain grounds. If the patient did something or said something, suggested that they don't want to be seen by the doctor. Also depends whether it's private practice, is it a government service, or is it private. Obviously, if it's private practice, they kind of get to dictate who they want to see and all of that. So it really depends. There are certain situations, but for the most part, doctors cannot just outrightly refuse to see patients. There has to probably be a really genuine reason why they cannot see patients. Next thing that people have been Googling is, can doctors date patients? Hey, you people have been asking too, so some of you have been meeting doctors in consulting room that you want to, get into relationships. Is that what this is? Well, unfortunately not. Doctors are not allowed, we are not allowed to date patients. Yeah. And even date the family of patients. Because when we're about to have our induction, I remember that we had to have this ethics thing. And one of the things that came up, I remember very clearly, was you're not allowed to date patients, you're not allowed to date the family of the patient, which I thought was a bit harsh. Like, okay, patient, fine. But the family, what if that's my future husband? But no, actually, no, you're not allowed to date patients. I guess it's actually to keep the patient safe, so that the doctor does not, because whenever there's a position of power, and when with the doctor-patient relationship, doctor has a certain amount or level of power and authority, and so it's actually to protect the patient, to make sure that the patient is not taken advantage of, because of and even for the family as well. It makes sense, because obviously if a doctor is trying to get at the family of a patient, person might feel obliged to maybe pay a bit of attention, just because obviously you are the doctor taking care of my person, and so I don't want to be in your bad books. So it's actually for the protection of the patient, and it does make sense. So yes, in the setting of when the person is your patient, you're not allowed to date them. Yeah. Are doctors allowed to treat family? This is also another one that's ethically no, doctors are not supposed to treat their own family. Also because, just when the person is your family, sometimes emotions are high. Once the person is your family, you kind of have a bond with that person, and your judgment may be clouded. So no, it's not advised for doctors to treat or take care of their own family. Next set of questions is, should doctors? First one is, should doctors marry doctors? Honestly, these questions are cracking me up. I'm really wondering why someone Googled this, or why people have Googled this. So I'm just going to speak on doctor-doctor relationship. Personally, I was someone that did not ever fancy doctor-doctor relationships, just because I felt like, won't it be a bit boring? Are we going to be talking about the same things when we come back from work? The person should be talking about engineering, let me talk about medicine. I feel like variety is the spice of life. And so that was when I was much younger, maybe when I was in first year of medical school. That's how I thought. Have I changed my mind? Yes. I feel like there is some advantage to marrying a doctor as a doctor. There's a level of understanding that doctors have amongst themselves that I feel like other people who are not exactly in the profession may not totally get. Obviously, the person is understanding, the person is understanding, but sometimes doctors just get it. They just get the fact that maybe you're not always accessible and your eyes may not be very good and all those things. So I feel like doctors should marry doctors. But obviously it's I don't think you should be choosing your spouse just based on their profession. I think that would be a very awful way of choosing your life partner. But yeah, it's just the fact that a lot of doctors end up marrying doctors. Also because you spend a lot of time in the hospital. People meet their life partners while they're on duty, so it is what it is. Yeah. Last set of questions I'm going to be answering. If you've been enjoying it so far and you're still listening, why don't you just hit the subscribe button and give this video a like? It really helps to boost the channel and helps to send my videos to other people. Okay, so last set of questions. Do doctors, so first one is, do doctors have time for their family? Yes, being a doctor can actually put a strain on your family life, not going to lie. Depending on the specialty you're doing, depending on the number of hours you have to work a week, it can definitely impose a strain on your family life. But I do believe that a lot of doctors do try to balance, but it is hard to balance, especially if you are in a specialty that is very demanding or you're in a facility that's very demanding. It can easily put a strain on your family life. Do doctors still use pagers? So if you don't know what a pager is a device that doctors usually receive, like prompts and instructions. Like if they're on call and there's an emergency, they'll usually get paged on that device. It's something that is typically in the Western world. I'm not sure if it's in other African countries, and I haven't really seen any hospital use pagers before. I'm not sure if any hospital in Ghana uses pagers. If you know any hospital that does, please comment down below. But then in Ghana, most of the time, if you're on call and they need you, they're just going to call your number. And I'm not even going to lie, that thing gives anxiety, because what ends up happening is that now when you're even at home and then you receive a call from an unknown number, your heart just starts beating, like you're just like you're scared, because it's like you're just, there's, what do we even used to call that thing in psychology? I've forgotten, but you've made the negative association with that thing. It has a name. Oh, I've forgotten what it means, what the name for that thing is. But yeah, unfortunately in Ghana we don't have pages. They will just call you on your personal device. Next thing is, do doctors take an oath? Yes, we take an oath. It's called the Hippocratic Oath. I took it, and yeah, doctors do take an oath before they. It's a bunch of a lot of things that talks about doing the best for your patients, and also talks about taking care of yourself. But some way, somehow, it seems like that fact is ignored, and doctors are not allowed to eat. Ding. Especially, do doctors have free time? No, doctors don't have free time, please. If this is a 70-year-old who was trying to find out, am I going to have free time? Let me answer this for you. We don't. Okay, we do not have free time. No, we do have free time, but like I said, it really depends on what specialty you're doing, what facility you're in. Some hospitals are just busier than other hospitals. Some hospitals' workload is just a lot. You have barely any time for yourself. Like, I've been in situations where I had barely any free time. So yes, it can be very, very stressful. You can have certain periods, certain rotations that you're doing that will probably be very intense and will leave you with very, very little time. So yes, it's not the most flexible job. Medicine is definitely not the most flexible job there is on the planet. So if you know you really, really value your time and you really, really want your time, you should probably reconsider. But obviously there are different parts. Like, you don't have to do clinical medicine. You can go into clinical research, you can go into lecturing, you can go into other things that would give you the freedom to to have a regular life. And so you don't have to practice clinical medicine, like it's not by force. The very last question is, do doctors get holidays? Nope, we do not get holidays. Last 2 years that I've been working, I've actually not enjoyed any of my Christmas holidays. We don't get any. My little sister, one time she just came up to me and she was like, yeah, I'm not going to be a doctor in future. And I'm like, why? And she was like, because I want to enjoy my holidays. And I felt that, because I think she had seen that every time it was a holiday and she was at home, I was never at home. I still had to go into work, and she's like, no, I don't want that life. And I respect her for that. That's a woman with vision. So we've come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this, kindly let me know in the comment section. If you have any other questions about doctors and what doctors can do or cannot do, just comment down below and I'll get to it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're on the road to 500 subscribers before the year ends. And so give this video a big thumbs up, share it to someone, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.